The conventional wisdom on insomnia is that insomniacs are not sleepy during the day. And in fact, that's why they have the problem, because they're not sleepy during the day and they're not sleepy at bedtime, so they can't fall asleep. But the problem with that conventional wisdom is that when the scientific literature thinks about the construct, the symptom of sleepiness, it's often doing so in the context of, does somebody actually doze off during the day? Do they take a nap, or would they fall asleep for even just a couple of seconds? We call that dozing potential. So what we've been looking at in our research is something a little bit different that we think is distinct from this dozing potential, and that's what we call the general category or feeling of sleepiness that somebody might have during the day, even if they would never doze off, or even if they would never take a nap. And there are studies that have actually tested whether insomniacs will take naps, and the conventional wisdom is correct there. Many times an insomnia patient, when asked to lie down in a dark room and to take a nap, doesn't fall asleep. So that part is valid. The part I believe is missing is the fact that we see so many insomnia patients who tell us that they feel sleepy during the day, but they're not able to transfer that sleepiness to the bedtime at night and use it to go to sleep. So in doing this research that we're putting together right now, we're coming up with an idea of how we might explain to an insomnia patient what they need to become aware of to help them increase their ability to fall asleep. And that's based on this diagram behind us. And the first area talks about fatigue or tiredness. Fatigue or tiredness would be feelings often felt in the body, not so much in the mind. And the sensation would be one of, you've exerted a certain amount of energy, you're feeling low energy, and you're worn out in some way. This is a feeling that would be very natural to people experiencing at the end of the day, having completed all of their daily activities. Now, the next part is the part that I think is key for the insomnia patient. Then someone who is going to be going to sleep is going to notice the feeling of sleepiness. And this may be the same feeling that you felt, during the daytime. Sometimes you get drowsy, but you may not want to take a nap. Well, I believe that the person generally was going to go from fatigue and tiredness to this next state of sleepiness before they actually get drowsy enough to consider the possibility of dozing off. So this represents an intermediary step. And yet if that were to be absent, if the person didn't even notice this drowsy feeling, it would be a long way for them to get to these next two steps, which involve dozing off. So in the treatment of insomnia, one of the major goals is, if the patient really has sleepiness during the daytime, we want to teach the person how to feel that feeling nearer to bedtime. Now, after one does get sleepy, the sleepiness tends to build and you have a dozing potential. That is, the ability to doze off, and then eventually you actually do doze off and attain your sleep, start your sleep period, and hopefully maintain your sleep period. So the key on this issue is to recognize that there are many insomniacs who have trouble getting that sleepiness feeling at bedtime, even though they report it during the daytime. And the question becomes, how can someone who does have that experience find a way to move this into the nighttime hours to eventually lead them to a path where they will fall asleep?